If you're tired of being frustrated by incredibly slow progress towards your big dreams and goals and creating and living the life that you truly desire and frankly deserve if you're willing to work for it, then I've got great news for you. It doesn't have to be this way. In fact, if you're not feeling the levels of happiness and confidence, I've got great news for you. It doesn't have to stay this way. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you exactly what you need to know in order to turn around. But even in 1 second from now, I'm going to tell you the one decision that can start to make this change in your life today, in the moment that you make the decision. And then in a few minutes after that, I'm going to give you the 3 decisions you've got to make to actually execute on this one major decision so that you can make the progress and create the momentum and therefore achieve the results and live the life that you desire and frankly deserve. And so you might be asking, JJ, how do you know this with such certainty? Well, first of all, I've been studying this stuff for well over 20 years, and for the past 10 years, I've been teaching, speaking, and coaching on this exact topic. And I put a lot of these exact ideas and strategies into my book, Attract Your Potential. And so because I've been so in this and working with people over the last several years, I've seen it again and again and again. When you make one single decision, this decision that I'm going to share with you in a second, it'll turn everything around. But before we get to the one decision, you have to understand this one major concept, the belief loop, because if you don't understand the belief loop, all of this stuff is not going to be as impactful. And by the way, I want to give you a quick analogy. It's kind of like most people think, well, I can't turn my life around in a moment, in a day with a decision. But the truth is you can. So it's kind of like if you think about one of those large container ships, like a carrier ship out in the ocean, it's leaving port. Let's say it's in Miami, Florida, and its goal destination is New York. And a few days into the trip, it realizes it bumps into South America somewhere. And you're on the ship and you're like, wow, how do we get here? We went in the totally wrong direction. How do we get to New York where we were trying to go? That's our destination. Well, in one moment, you've got to make the decision that you got to turn things around. And so, no, of course, the ship doesn't get there in a split second up to New York because it went the wrong direction for days, maybe even weeks. But the reality is, in a moment, it can make the decision to turn around and start heading in the right direction. And this is the key concept. Are you willing to make the choice to turn things around? Because as soon as you make the choice, you can now create the momentum in the direction of the life that you do want to truly create for yourself and your family, that you're here to live and you're called to fulfill by serving the mission that you're here to serve. So let's get into the belief loop really quick here. The belief loop is really simple, but once you understand it, you'll be like, this is exactly what I needed to know in life. The very first component of the belief loop is, wow, as I rip the whole paper off, is belief. And you're like, JJ, okay, great, the belief loop. It's going to make sense once I get to parts 2 and 3. But the reality is, it all starts with belief. As you believe, you can achieve. And it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. If you're someone that really wants to achieve something big in your life, and you're like, man, I really want to live an incredible, extraordinary life, and I really want to fulfill my greatest potential, first of all, you got to have the belief. It starts with belief. How much belief do you have in your ability, your potential to create the life that you want? Because if you don't have a ton of belief, then the next part of this is going to be really hard to fulfill. Oh man, it's ripping a lot of the stuff off, which is action. The belief you have will determine the amount of action, the kinds, qualities, and intensities of action that you take. I mean, think about it this way. If you're going to get on the basketball court, actually, let's do this. If you're going to run a mile, let's say you're not a runner, because if you're a runner, this will be easy for you. But let's say you're not a runner. If you're going to go run a mile, and you don't believe you can run it very fast, and you believe, I'm not great at running, and I'm slow, and I have no endurance, and running's so hard for me, then how are you going to go out and run? Are you going to go out and run with a great attitude and a great mindset and believing that you can run a fast mile and give it everything you have? No, you're like, what's the point? I'm not good at this, and I'll never become good at this, and I don't believe in myself, and I don't believe what I'm capable of as a runner. And better yet, let's say you want to train for a marathon, but you've never run a day in your life. What's your belief about your ability to run that marathon? Are you going to go out and put in the reps day after day to run the miles you need, to do the training you need to do, to be able to run that marathon in the time that you want to achieve it? Probably not. Or at least your likelihood of doing that with that intensity, with the right mindset to produce the results, is going to significantly decrease, which is the third part, result. Because you believe something about what's going to happen when you take action, and that creates the result. And once you see the result, now it either solidifies the belief or expands the belief. So if your belief in what your ability to do is very low, you have very little belief about what you can accomplish, then the actions you take are not going to be very good. They're not going to be effective. They're not going to be intense. They're not going to be consistent. You're not going to have that great attitude and enthusiasm and passion that you need to produce great results. And so your results aren't going to be great. And once you get those not so great results, you're going to say, yep, that's kind of what I expected. That's what I believed was going to happen. But what if you turn it all around by believing that more was possible for you? What if just in a moment you decided, I can do more, I can accomplish more, I can create more, I can become more, I can learn, I can grow, I can develop. Even if I fail or fall down or fall short, I can keep going, I can get up, I can expand, and I can do better next time. And if you started to believe that more is possible, what kind of action would you take? You take more powerful, intense, consistent action over a longer period of time with a great attitude, which ultimately will help you to create better results. And when you get the better results, you're going to say, wow, I was right. I was right about what's possible for me. And so you wonder why some people they get in this terrible negative cycle that takes them into the ground, and they fail and they fall short, and they just beat themselves up mentally with negative thoughts, and then they absolutely destroy their ability to produce great results in their life. They destroy their life in one way, shape, or form because they don't believe, so they don't take action that's effective, and they don't get great results. And now all of a sudden they're in this terrible downward spiral loop that just pulls them into the gutter, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. But if you can start to turn around by believing that more is possible, then more automatically becomes possible. This is why really successful people start to succeed even faster and in bigger ways as they get more and more success, because this is called the success loop. Because not only is it the belief loop, it's the success loop. We believe more is possible, so we take powerful action that's effective, and then we get better results, and we're like, yes, I'm doing it, and we just keep going. Now, this is vitally important to understand, because the one decision that you have to make is a decision that will feed into this belief loop. That's why I want to make sure you understand, or at least know about, the belief loop before I share with you the one decision. The one decision is this: I choose to, because by the way, it has to be an active statement for yourself. Like, you have to say, I choose this. I decide this is how life's going to be. Here it is. I choose to, as I'm pulling it all off, I choose to make my life what I want it to be. By the way, this is a decision that most people never make in life. Most people never decide that they're going to create the life that they truly want. They just go through the motions, or they think life's going to work on them or act on them, and they have no control. They have no choice in the matter. They're stuck with whatever circumstances come their way. And this is exactly why people stay stuck, because they believe their circumstances are permanent instead of realizing the truth. You can choose to create the life you want. I'm not saying that instantaneously, by saying I want to make millions of dollars and be completely fit and healthy and strong, if you're out of shape and you want to make millions when you're barely making six figures today, or you want to reach millions of people where you've never made one piece of content, never spoken to one person with your message and your voice and your communication skills. Like, I'm not saying you will instantly create the great results. But as soon as you decide that you will choose to make life the way you want it to be, as soon as you know for certain that you have this power, that this decision is yours to make, and you make it, everything turns around. You become that ship that was going in the wrong direction, and now all of a sudden, in a moment, by making this decision, you're starting to turn the ship around, and you will start heading in the right direction, the direction of your destiny. Because you're made for more, you're meant for more, you're here to do something special with your life. I genuinely and thoroughly believe that you and every human on this planet is called here with purpose, on purpose, for purpose. And if you start to believe that about yourself, it'll change everything. And so in a second, I'm going to give you the follow-up 3 decisions that you must make to take this decision and actually put it into practice in your life so it starts to work for you. And you can create this success loop within the context of the belief loop, so you take action with confidence and boldness and a great attitude, with courage, moving in the direction of your dreams, of your destiny, so you can live the life that you truly desire to live. And by the way, I believe that when we live the life we desire to live and we're using our gifts in a big way, it lights us up. By the way, have you ever done work whether it was just a volunteer event or work you did on the side or a side hustle or thought about doing some type of work and it absolutely lit you up. You came alive with energy and enthusiasm and a new passion ignited inside of you. Have you ever felt that? Well, that's the exact reason that I believe all of us need to be doing work that lights us up. Because if you do work that lights you up and every other human does work that lights themselves up, we will experience more light in this world. And friend, I don't know about you, but I believe the darkness of the world can be overcome by the light. And the light comes through us when we're doing the work that we love to do with joy and excitement and passion and enthusiasm. And by the way, if you're someone that's like, man, I'd love to do this, but I don't even feel happy, I don't feel confident, I don't feel like I'm successful, I got great news for you. And this quote that I'm about to share with you from this great book, Rewire, it's sitting over here, I won't pull it out. Great book called Rewire by Richard O'Connor, PhD, on page 20. This is one of my favorite quotes because it literally epitomizes the mindset of the most successful people on the face of the planet. By the way, I said I've been studying this stuff for 20 years, but it's been almost 25 years or more since I actually started studying the mindset of the highest performing athletes on the face of the planet. I mean, when I started playing football when I was 8 years old, I got into Sports Illustrated and I got into books that helped me to learn what the highest achievers, the best athletes, the best performers in the world, what they were thinking and what they were doing and how they were living. And so I'm not just guessing on this stuff, and I'm telling you, this is how the highest performers, the biggest achievers in the world are thinking. And by the way, you're going to hear this. I'm going to finish this sentence for you, and you'll be like, that doesn't sound like something I want. Let's get this chair out of the way. I'm getting fired up. Let's go. That doesn't sound like something I want to do. But as soon as I explain it to you, you're going to be like, this absolutely makes sense. This is something you're doing anyway. But now the question is, are you going to be intentional with it, or are you just going to let it work on you in a way that's maybe not as effective as it could be? So, in his book, Rewire, on page 20, Richard O'Connor, PhD, says the fact is that most happy, confident people are, wait for it, brrr, that's your drum roll, slightly, can you guess what he's going to say? Slightly delusional. The fact, hang on with me for a second, I'm going to explain this, and your mind's going to open up to new possibilities in your life. The fact is that most happy, confident people are slightly delusional. Look, we are all delusional about something. We all make illusions in our minds about what life is and what it isn't and who we are and who we aren't and all of these things. Like, we all look at life through the lens that's been put over our eyes through all of our experiences in life, through all of the years that we've lived, through all of the conversations we have, through all of the people and the voices we've listened to. We're looking through life, at life, through a lens that's distorted. So all of us, to one way, shape, or form, are delusional about our lives. The question is, what's the delusion that you're going to live in? Are you going to live in the delusion that things are great? Or even if they're not great, you can realize that even in the struggle and the season of suffering of life maybe you're going through, or the slowness of progress or the stuckness you feel right now, is there something you can gain? Is there a gift in the slowness? And by the way, I believe there is, but you've got to decide for yourself, is there a gift in the slowness of progress? Is there a gift in the season of struggle? Is there a gift in my suffering through this thing that I'm going through? Is there a gift? And if I believe there is, what is the gift? What's to be gained? What's the refinement of my character that I can gain? What's the wisdom that I can grow into myself so I can use in my life to be my very best? Like, we've all got to make these decisions, but we're all delusional about something. Now, the question is, are you going to be delusional about the possibilities in a positive way and believe that more is possible and believe that even in the face of failure and falling short and maybe getting embarrassed and feeling rejected or not being where you want to be in life, can you still have the slight delusion that great things can happen, that you're meant for more? Because if you've ever studied the highest performers and really successful people, especially in business, these entrepreneurs that create great things in the world, these people are slightly delusional. And you could probably agree with me on this. How do we know this is true? Because these people, these high achievers, the people that have accomplished the most in the world in different categories, different industries, different professions, these are the people that get punched in the face by life. They get knocked down. They have failures. They get the rug pulled out from under them, and they fall flat on their face in the mud. They get scratched. They get punched in the face by life, and yet they get up and they keep moving forward. Why? Because they're slightly delusional about what's possible for them in their life, about what they can achieve. Even if they get knocked down 1,000,000 times, they know that if they get up 1,000,001th time, they can do something special. That could be the moment that they have their breakthrough. And so, friend, I simply want to encourage you that you can have happiness and confidence in life, but it requires a decision to be okay with being slightly delusional. Now, the people that think this is just crazy, they're like, oh, I don't want to be delusional. Those crazy people are delusional. And they're going to name maybe politicians or leaders or entrepreneurs like those people are delusional. That's not for me. I'm a normal, average person. Well, guess what? If you make decisions that normal, average people make, and you see yourself in the same way that normal, average people see themselves, you, friend, will remain normal and average, and you will never accomplish something extraordinary with your life. And this might sound harsh from a guy that's really positive and optimistic and really wants to encourage you to be your best, but as a coach, as an encourager, as someone that wants to see you tap into your greatest potential for the goodness of the people you can reach and serve with your gifts and talents and life, friend, please let me speak this truth into your life. Refuse. That's a strong word on purpose. Refuse to allow yourself to conform to the ways and the thought patterns and the beliefs of the people who stay mediocre or average at best in life. You are here to do something special, and I want to remind you of this, and I want to speak this faith into your life so that you'll make the decision to be okay with being slightly delusional, so you can be happy and confident, and you can see the greatness that's possible for you if you just persist. Now, let me get into 3 decisions, because you've already made this decision. Hopefully, you've made this decision. If you haven't, press pause on this video or go back to me explaining this and rewind and watch it again so you can make the decision. But here's the one decision. I choose to make my life what I want it to be. Great. Now, what do I do with that? Here are 3 decisions to make your life the way you want it. Because, by the way, you got to decide what you want your life to be like, and that's number 1. Decide what you want. Do you realize how many people, and I said it here too, most people don't choose to make life the way they want it? And even if they think they can create the life they want, they rarely actually decide of what they want. And they have vague ideas, and they're like, oh, I'd like to make a little more money, or maybe have a nicer house, or maybe travel a little bit, or maybe make some contributions, or maybe start my own business, or maybe make some YouTube videos. But they don't concretely, specifically decide what they want. And this is the biggest thing holding most people back. I say it all the time. Your vision, another way of saying what you want, your vision for life, your vision drives your decision. So many people ask me the question, JJ, what should I do here? Or what do I need to do over here? Or how do I break? What do you want? That's always my question. What do you want? What is your vision for your life? Because if you don't have a vision of exactly what you want, it's real hard to start making powerful decisions that actually move you in the direction of something. Because if you don't know what the something is, then you don't know what decision to make. So number 1, you've got to decide what you want. Number 2, decide who you must, and by the way, put this exclamation in the wrong point. It goes here, become, to create the life you want and to achieve the things you want to have. Because as Jim Rohn will say, success is not to be pursued. It's to be attracted by the person you become. That's actually the epigraph of my book, Attract Your Potential. And I love that quote because so many people are like, how do I achieve the goal? How do I create the result? How do I get that thing? But the truth is, we've got to become the kind of person that can live the life that we want. So if you're not working hard on yourself, making the effort to build your wisdom, to grow your knowledge, to work on executing, to move in the direction of your dreams and working on you, that's called personal growth and development. If you're not working on you, which by the way is the purpose of this channel, is to help you become the best version of yourself, tap into your greatest potential, and turn your dreams into reality and live a thriving, flourishing life where you get to use your gifts and talents to truly serve and help other people in a big, positive, powerful way. That's the purpose of this channel. So subscribe and come back for more if you like that. But the point is, you've got to become a particular kind of person to create the particular kind of life that you want. You following me? I know you are. Let's keep going. So number 3, decide to act, and live. I've got a great quote for you that I'm going to end this with once I hear this, so don't drop off until after you hear the final quote. Decide to act and live as that person. You might say, okay, decide who I want to become, but now what do? You've got to act like that person. Act like that person. You've got to live like that person. Who do you envision yourself as in your future, 5, 10, 15 years out from now? Successful, fit, healthy, great relationships, a great, confident communicator, happy, vibrant, fully alive, doing work that makes you come alive with passion, that lights you up like I talked about before. Who is that person? Get very clear on who you want to become and then start acting and living like that person. By the way, this is not fake it till you make it. I mean, kind of is, but let me explain what I mean. So some people just beat up on this idea of fake it till you make it because they're like, oh, I don't want to be fake. But the truth is, if you're acting, well, hang with me here. If you want to be someone different in your future than you are today, do you want to be someone different in your future than you are today? Like if you're financially, emotionally, physically, in your relationships, what your life looks like, do you want a different life in the future? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then you certainly have to be someone different in the future than you are right now. So by definition, you will be a different person in the future. And so when people say fake it till you make it, they're simply saying act as if, and that's the way I prefer to say it. Act as if you are that person, and you'll start to condition yourself to become that person. So people beat up on fake it till you make it because they don't like that word fake, but the truth is, if you're acting as someone different than you are today, that's the only way to become the different person that you need to be tomorrow to create the life you want and accomplish your big dreams and goals. And so stick with me because the final quote I'm going to leave you with, oh, by the way, before that quote, I'll tell you this. Over a decade ago, I was sitting at a restaurant with friends, and the server came over, his buddy of mine, because I went to this place quite often back then in my early 20s, and he brought over a beverage and looked at me and he said, channel yourself into the person you want to become for long enough until you eventually become that person. And my mind just went, like it was the most random moment, the most random thing to say, but it has stuck with me for over a decade since he said it, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. When I say act and live as that person now, I'm saying channel yourself into the best ideal future vision and version of who you want to become, and you'll start to train yourself. You'll wire your brain and your body and your emotions and your nervous system to be that way. Your thought patterns will start to reflect that best version of yourself. Now, for the final quote I'm going to leave you with, that's a powerful and profound one. It is from William James, who's often referred to as the father of psychology in America. He said, you might want to write this one down, act, look, feel successful. Conduct yourself accordingly, and you will be amazed at the positive results. Act, look, feel successful. Conduct yourself accordingly, and you will be amazed at the positive results. Friend, if you do these things, I can almost guarantee your life will turn around. You will make progress. You will start accelerating your rate of achieving the results you want to achieve, and you will become so much more excited, filled with enthusiasm and passion and aliveness and confidence, and be happier because you will be making the progress you are meant to make to live the life that you're excited to live.